Hi, I'm Scott Wrighton, and I serve as Decatur City Manager, and it's my pleasure, or the pleasure of some other member of our staff, to bring you updates about what's going on in your city government every week, and thanks for tuning in. At the last City Council meeting, the City Council just was taking care of all the business of city government as they normally do twice a month. And there were 6 items on the City Council's agenda that all dealt with the same thing, which was mowing of weeds on mostly vacant lots and abandoned lots where property owners haven't taken responsibility for those lots. Now, when the city mows a lot that should be mowed by the property owner, then we charge the property owner, and if he doesn't pay it, then it goes as a lien on the property, and sometimes we even foreclose on those liens and acquire the property because of the negligence of the owner in not taking care of it. But in some cases, and in increasingly a larger number of cases, in fact it's now hundreds of lots, the city actually owns the property because we've acquired it through foreclosure or because we've had to condemn or demolish a structure on that piece of property, and so we ended up acquiring it. And until we can find another repurposing of the lot or sell it to an adjoining owner, then we have to maintain it, of course. Now, not every city in downstate Illinois that has a large volume of vacant lots like the city of Decatur has mows them all, but it has been the policy of the city of Decatur for many years to mow these lots because the mayor and city council are committed to keeping these lots looking nice as we make progress on neighborhood revitalization and as we find alternative owners for these properties. I've talked before in previous sessions like this one and these weekly updates about our side lot program. You can learn more about that on our website, where we have a map of all the side lots that we're trying to dispose of and sell to adjoining owners or to somebody else. We continue to sell those lots, and every month we're selling a few more of those lots. But it's also a matter of public safety. We don't want large noxious weeds or rodents or anything or other sorts of public safety problems like that on these lots, besides the appearance problems and the fact that it can drag down the values of the neighborhood. The number of these lots that the city actually owns, as opposed to the ones we mow that somebody else owns because they didn't take care of it and we charge them, the number of lots that we own, that we have to maintain, is at least for a short period of time increasing rather than decreasing. And that reflects the fact that the mayor and city council have made it a fairly clear policy moving forward to increase the number of demolitions. There are, as we all know, hundreds of properties in the town that are no longer salvageable. They are beyond the point of rehabilitation and repair, and sadly, they just need to be demolished and the lot cleared. And for the city council to increase its budget and its allocation of resources to do more demolition means that we will end up, at least for the short term, owning more of these lots. So it's certainly a good thing that the city council is pushing forward and doing more demolitions, getting more of these eyesores out of there. But for the short term, until we can repurpose them, find alternative owners, find developers who would assemble some of these lots together to do things that are much more positive and amount to a much larger investment in the community, on a temporary basis, we have to own them. And so our cost of weed and grass cutting has increased. What we have done, though, is we have helped raise up and partner with smaller businesses here in Decatur to contract this to. And so that's a good thing, because it's bad enough we have to mow all these lots, but at least the business can be placed with local businesses who are helping to increase their own business, build their own small business capacity. One of the other things that the City Council talked about at their last meeting has to do with water and sewer rates. Now, it is little known, but nevertheless a piece of our water and sewer rate ordinances that say that every year on May 1st, the rate goes up by either 2.5% or the Midwest Regional Consumer Price Index for cities like Decatur, whichever is higher. Now, for the last several years, that Midwest CPI for cities like Decatur has been below 2.5%. And so it's always gone up by just 2.5%. The reason that it goes up by that is because the city has a significant amount of water and sewer capital improvements that it has to plan for in the near and the distant future. Major improvements to our water plant, to our water distribution system, to our sewer collection system, to the watershed improvement, even to expansions of water supply in the future. These things cost millions of dollars in money, in cost, and rather than hit ratepayers with a huge increase all at once after having gone several years with no increase, the City Council decided several years ago that we should do this more gradually, and that's why there's this automatic increase of only 2.5% every year. Well, this year, because of the energy and fiscal policies of the federal government, inflation is in many respects out of control, and that Midwest CPI for cities like Decatur is now at 8%. And the city council basically said, whoa, time out. We don't want to have our customers pay an 8% increase, even though that accurately represents what inflation is doing to the local economy. In fact, water and sewer costs are increasing at an even higher rate than the basket of services that regular consumers have. While the cost of groceries or fuel or other things that we buy in the normal course of our lives may be up by 8% in Decatur, the cost of water treatment chemicals and water treatment and sewer treatment repairs is actually increasing at an even higher rate. So the challenge for the city is, how do we be sensitive to our residents, to our customers, who are struggling with the effects of inflation on so many different aspects of their lives, but still understand the fact that we have these costs to bear too. So the city council decided that the way they would resolve that is by saying, even though inflation has gone up over the last year by 8% in this area, we're going to only have the same 2.5% rate increase that we've had the last several years for both water and sewer. So yes, you will see a 2.5% rate hike on bills that are issued for water and sewer services after the 1st of May. But it's scaled back as an attempt to find that middle ground between being fiscally responsible and dealing with the costs that the city has, but still understanding the deep problems that everybody has in managing inflation as it affects your own household budgets. Finally, I want to talk briefly about Lake Decatur and the marina improvements that are being made in what we call Basin 1. Basin 1 is that portion of the lake between the US 36 bridge and the Lost Bridge Road bridge, and that part of the lake that's in between those two bridges. And on the northwest side of that basin is property that's at least above the full pool level of the lake, is owned by the Decatur Park District, and is where most of the concentrated, most densely slotted marinas are and docks are in that area where the Beach House restaurant is and so forth. And the city also operates its lake maintenance out of that same area. So we have contracted, along with the Park District, with a local company here in Macon County called G&H Marine to install 40 new slips, and potentially, depending on customer demand, an additional numbers of slips and docks as there is demand demonstrated by the boating public here. And if you haven't been down to that section of Basin 2, you'll see that that's under construction now, and we expect it to be in place here shortly. If you are one of the people who has thought, gee, I'd like to have my boat on the lake as well, but there just hasn't been any spaces available for many years, and that is true, there hasn't been for many years, because we've been sort of waiting to see how all of this works out before agreeing to additional docks, then I would encourage you to call the Decatur Park District. We are in this project partnering very closely with the Decatur Park District. That's been a very satisfactory partnership, and as a result of that, we decided that the Decatur Park District would be the ones who handle additional requests for dock spaces. So they maintain the waiting list. They maintain the interaction with G&H Marine to decide who goes where and whether a whole boat club or group of people that want to be situated together can go, and that's all handled by the Decatur Park District. So if you're one of those people that are interested, then call the Decatur Park District. And because they're handling it, what we're learning is that the demand for dock spaces, it has already exceeded the 40 slips that are being installed by G&H Marine. So there's been some pent-up demand, and that's a good thing, because water recreation on Lake Decatur, it's a great COVID, socially distanced spacing kind of activity to do. And ever since the pandemic, but not because of pandemic, we've seen increased use of Lake Decatur. I think it has less to do with pandemic and more to do with the fact that the city, over a period of 5 years, dredged a huge amount of silt and debris out of the lake that had built up nearly over a century since the lake was first constructed in the early 1920s. And so the lake is cleaner, it's prettier, there's the aquatic life is fuller, and so it's much more pleasurable experience to be on the lake. And we're certainly seeing that also in the response to the number of people that are interested in marina space. Thank you very much for tuning into this video, and I look forward to bringing you an update on additional topics in next week's video.